thought I would do a TMAP Property Summit debrief because we had an amazing weekend. On Friday night we had Monopoly. It was a Bond theme. So the first prize winner and the second prize winner, so $8,000 and $1,000, those two winners, they changed. So they always had the partner or another family member play, and that person played for the first time and they both won. So that's pretty crazy. So maybe there's something in that, guys. So Tiata took out the first prize, $8,000. She'd always had her husband Ben playing. Now she plays, steps up, takes out the cash. Also Situa won the $1,000. She'd always had her daughter play, and now Situa plays, she takes out the W as well, wins $1,000 for her and her family. And the Bond theme, I loved how, look man, the TMAP mums, the girls, they get in on a theme, man, they go all in. They looked amazing, looked great. On the summit on the day, it was interesting. We had some new data around suburb analysis and the new metrics that we're using to identify the best locations for people to be investing and buying property. What really stood out for me is one of the early questions that we asked in the presentation on Sunday was, are you a first homeowner or an investor? And what I want you to understand is when we first launched Teach Me About Property, it was 100% first homeowners. It was all people buying their first home. And we're helping people to get into the market. That was the dream. But we've seen an evolution of the brand to the point where in the room on Saturday, 87% responded that they're investors. So there's a big shift, which makes sense when we get strong feedback around how people are valuing the content around the data and how there's suburb analysis that's going on, and that suburb analysis is deeply desired and it's viewed as being highly insightful for families. And there's going to be a lot more of this. Expect us to be releasing more reports around locations, suburbs, where we should be buying. Because the reality is when you're a first homeowner, it's not so much about return. It's not so much about investing in the right market because you want to see capital growth. You're basically buying a property that you live close to, that you live near, that's in an area that you want your family to be in. That's called being a first homeowner. You're buying because it's convenient and it's close to where you want to be. That's the primary factor. But once you start investing and you start putting money into properties that, you know, a lot of people, you're never going to see them, you're never going to live in them. So you just want to make sure that the fundamentals are right. And for us, we want to make sure that you're buying into a property that has upside potential, that the property is going to increase in value over the next couple of years, and then you get upside lift, and then you have the opportunity to use that equity and go again. And I think that's one of the big things. There's so many families now, probably from a strategy standpoint, the biggest ones are accessing equity, using equity to build the portfolio, and then the second one is self-managed super funds. So families have worked hard, earned good money, and they've built up a substantial super fund balance, 200,000 plus, and they're in a position where they can also buy properties. So we're seeing huge trends around those two strategies. But the biggest thing is there's a thirst for knowledge, there's a desire to get better metrics and better data around where to buy. So expect us to be releasing a lot more stuff around that. Also next year, it'll be TMAP's 10-year anniversary, guys. 10 years. Right, so the November Summit will be TMAP's 10-year anniversary, so it'll be a decade. So that's going to be pretty crazy, sexy, cool. Also, we had a small conversation with students, TMAP students, a couple of Diamond students, and they expressed the desire for us to look at, you know, what if we did a property retreat? We went overseas, maybe Bali, maybe 30 students attend, something like that. So we're going to explore that in depth over the next period, guys. So I'll put some feelers out and I'll speak to the different students, and we'll see what's the best timing. I think we'll pull the trigger on that and execute that next year, guys. So we're going to have lots of fun, we're going to do some pretty cool stuff. And as always, TMAP's always evolving, always changing, a lot of growth going on. Stay plugged in, guys.